Hi students, today I am going to deal the topic thermal conductivity type gas analyzer. Thermal conductivity type gas analyzer and auto analyzer from the topic analysis. Today I am going to deal with the topic thermal conductivity type gas analyzer and auto analyzer from the chapter analysis. Learning objectives. Upon completion of this presentation, you will be able to understand the concepts of thermal conductivity gas analyzers, construction and working of thermal conductivity gas analyzers, the applications of thermal conductivity gas analyzers, auto analyzers, construction and working of an auto analyzer, and the applications of auto analyzers. Upon completion of this presentation, you will be able to understand the concepts of thermal conductivity gas analyzers, the construction and working of thermal conductivity gas analyzer, its applications, auto analyzer, construction and working, and the application of auto analyzers. Application of auto analyzers. Gas analyzer. Gas analyzer is an instrument which is capable of analyzing the species of chemical gases present in the sample. It is an instrument which is capable of analyzing the species of chemical gases that are present in the sample. Not only it identifies the species, but it also has the capability of giving a measurement value of the quantity which it displays either in the numerical form or it shows in a graphical form. There are variety of types of gas analyzers with different working principles. Also, due to their different principles of operation, they are capable of estimating different species of gases. So, there are various types of gas analyzers with their different working principles. Due to the different principles of operation, they are capable of estimating different species of gases. So, thermal conductivity gas analyzer is one type of gas analyzer. Depending upon the type of gas analyzer principle selected for gas analysis, gas analyzers can be classified as gas chromatography, IR gas analyzer, thermal conductivity gas analyzer, paramagnetic gas analyzer, electrochemical analyzer or SAT apparatus, gravimetry gas analyzer. So, depending upon the type of principle, we have different types of gas analyzers. Depending upon the type of the principle selected for the analysis of the gas, gas analyzers can be classified as gas chromatographs, IR gas analyzers, thermal conductivity gas analyzers, paramagnetic gas analyzers, electrochemical analyzers or SAT apparatus, gravimetry gas analyzers and methanometers. So, these are the different types of gas analyzers. Among this, we are going to discuss today thermal conductivity gas analyzer. Thermal conductivity gas analyzer. Thermal conductivity gas analyzer. So, what is thermal conductivity? Thermal conductivity of a material is a measure of its ability to conduct heat. What is meant by thermal conductivity? It is the ability of a material to conduct heat, and it is commonly represented by K or lambda. So, thermal conductivity of a material, it is the ability of the material to conduct heat. It is commonly denoted by K. Each gas has the ability to conduct heat at a specific rate. This is known as thermal conductivity of the gas. Okay, thermal conductivity of a gas is the ability of the gas to conduct heat. Each gas has its own thermal conductivity, its own capacity to conduct heat. This is known as thermal conductivity of the gas. So, you are utilizing this property. This property is utilized in thermal conductivity detectors. This property is utilized in thermal conductivity detectors, where we are able to utilize the capability or the ability to conduct heat at a specific rate. The principle of thermal conductivity gas analyzers. The thermal conductivity gas analyzers measures gas concentrations. What do? They measure the gas concentrations by utilizing the difference of thermal conductivities between two gas components. They utilize the difference of thermal conductivities between two gas components. The resultant thermal change is taken out as a change in electrical resistance, according to which the concentration of the measured gas is calculated. So you are going to utilize the difference of thermal conductivity between two gases. One gas is the reference gas and another one will be the measuring sample. So by measuring the resultant thermal change that is taking place, which causes a change in the electric resistance, according to which the concentration of the measured gas is calculated. The proportion of various constituents of a mixture can be determined by measuring its thermal conductivity. So the proportions of various constituents of the gas. The gas may contain different, the gas mixture may contain different components. So these gas mixture can be determined by measuring its thermal conductivity. So this is the principle of thermal conductivity gas analyzers. Thermal conductivities of different gases. You have a table here. The table represents there are several gases. Each gas has its own thermal conductivity. Like for example, acetylene, it has 4.4 as its thermal conductivity. If we go for carbon dioxide, 3.393, and carbon monoxide, 5.425. So different gases have different thermal conductivities. Thermal conductivity. So it is the ability of the gas to conduct heat. So different gases, based on their conductivity, they are able to conduct the heat. So we have a set of gases shown in the table: acetylene 4.4, ammonia 5.135, argon gas 3.88, carbon dioxide 3.39, carbon monoxide 5.425, chlorine 1.829, ethane 4.303, ethylene 4.02, helium 33.6, hydrogen 39.6, hydrogen sulfide 3.04, methane 7.2, neon gas 10.87, nitric oxide 5.5, nitrogen 5.6, nitrous oxide 3.515, oxygen 5.70, and sulfur dioxide 1.95. So every gas has its own unique number, unique thermal conductivity. So you can identify the constituents of a mixture of gases by measuring the thermal conductivity. So these are the different gases. Then coming to the construction of thermal conductivity gas analyzer. Thermal conductivity gas analyzer construction, it consists of two chambers. The construction is a hot wire thermal conductivity gas analyzer cell consists of two chambers. There is a reference chamber and a measuring chamber. We have a reference chamber and a measuring chamber, in each of which a thin platinum wire is stretched out. So you have two chambers, the reference chamber and the measuring chamber, and each of which a thin platinum wire is stretched a thin platinum wire is stretched. The reference chamber is filled with reference gas, and the sample gas which is to be tested is allowed to flow through the measuring chamber. So, the construction of thermal conductivity gas analyzer is, the thermal conductivity gas analyzer consists of two chambers. There is a reference chamber and a measuring chamber, and in each of these we have thin platinum wires which are stretched out. The reference chamber is filled with reference gas, and the sample gas is allowed to flow through the measuring chamber. And the measuring circuit is a Wheatstone bridge circuit. Wheatstone bridge circuit, commonly used bridge circuit for resistance measurement, is your Wheatstone bridge circuit, which you are going to use in the thermal conductivity gas analyzer cells. Coming to the working, heated metal filaments, when heated metal filaments are exposed to the reference and sample gases, the amount of heat carried away by the gases changes the rate of cooling of the wire filament. Now you have the filament, you have the four arms of the bridge. The filament is placed, you have two chambers, one is the reference chamber and another one is the measuring chamber. So these filaments are heated up. When they are heated up, the amount of heat carried away by the gases changes the rate of cooling of the wire filament, because each gas has its own capacity of thermal conduction, and therefore the temperature of the filament changes. This temperature change causes a resistance change. Now you have the filament is heated, you are allowing the gas to flow through the filament. So the gas will cool the filament. It will take the heat from the filament based upon its thermal conductivity. So this temperature change causes a resistance change. Since the filaments are arranged in a Wheatstone bridge, the resistance change can be converted to electrical current that is available as an output signal. So the resistance change can be converted to an electrical current that is available as an output signal. Each gas has a known thermal conductivity. Each gas has a known thermal conductivity, and it is measured with a sensor that employs four matched filaments that change resistance according to the thermal conductivity of the gas. Based on the thermal conductivity, each gas has its own thermal conductivity which can be measured with a sensor. So, that sensor employs four matched filaments that change the resistance according to the thermal conductivity of the gas. Passing over it, thermal conductivity of the gas which is passing over it. Then this is the diagram of a thermal conductivity gas analyzer. You can see the schematic diagram of a thermal conductivity gas analyzer. So this thermal conductivity analyzer consists of two chambers, as I told you earlier. It has two chambers, one is the measuring chamber and the other one is the reference chamber. The two chambers are connected with you're having the filament which is connected to a constant current source. The filament gets heated up when current is passed to the filament, and there is an opening for the sample gas to be allowed into the measuring chamber. The gas is allowed to pass through the filament, pass over the filament, and you have the output of the chamber is connected to the resistance elements are connected to Wheatstone bridge circuits. Wheatstone bridge circuits. So this is the thermal conductivity gas analyzer, the schematic of a thermal conductivity gas analyzer. We have the gas analyzer sensor uses four matched filaments. It uses four matched filaments that change resistance according to the thermal conductivity of the gas passing over it. As I told you, you have the Wheatstone bridge circuit, which is the common circuit having 4 resistance elements, and the resistance elements are represented by P, Q, R and S. And this is a DC circuit and it is energized using Vin, and you are going to measure the output of the circuit V out across the terminals mentioned in the figure. One set of elements you are passing the sample gas, and through the other set you are passing the reference gas. So these filaments, 4 filaments are connected in a Wheatstone bridge circuit as shown in the figure. So this can be represented in a much more clear like this. You have 4 resistors R1, R2, R3 and R4. Through R4 you are sending the reference gas, and through R3 the sample gas. Through R3 the sample gas. This is the working of your thermal conductivity gas analyzer. The sample gas is flowed through the measuring chamber. The sample gas is flowed through the measuring chamber. Each platinum wire composes a bridge circuit in combination with an external fixed resistor, and it is heated up by flowing a constant current. So when there is a change in the concentration of the component under measurement, the thermal conductivity of the sample gas will change to affect the temperature of the platinum wire in the measuring chamber. So when the resulting thermal change is taken out as a change in the electrical resistance accordingly to which the concentration of the measured gas is calculated. So you have the 4 arms of the bridge, platinum wires it consists of, and they are heated up together with a constant current source. When there is a change in the concentration of the component present in the sample under measurement, the thermal conductivity of the sample gas will change to affect the temperature of the platinum wire in the measuring chamber. The resulting, because the temperature is changing, the bridge goes unbalanced, as you know very well, and the output is displayed on the meter. V out, you will be measuring the output voltage which can be measured across the terminals of the bridge circuit. So the resulting thermal change is taken out as a change in the electrical resistance according to which the concentration of the measured gas can be calculated. This is how a thermal conductivity gas analyzer works. Now, the applications of thermal conductivity gas analyzers. Applications. There are widespread applications. They are used to measure hydrogen in blast furnace gases. In the blast furnace, we have different types of gases that are being emanated, that are being produced. So you are going to measure the hydrogen present in the blast furnace gases. They are used to determine argon in oxygen in the process of air decomposition. They are used to find sulfur dioxide in the production of sulfuric acid. They are used in welding shield gas mixtures, food packaging mixtures, leak detection mixtures, and heat treating atmosphere. So these are the applications where we are going to use thermal conductivity gas analyzers. They are used to measure the hydrogen in blast furnace gases. They are used to determine argon in oxygen in the process of air decomposition. They are used to find sulfur dioxide in the production of sulfuric acid. Used in welding shield gas mixtures and food packaging mixtures, leak detection mixtures, and heat treating atmosphere. So these are the applications of thermal conductivity gas analyzers. Coming to the next topic of discussion is your auto analyzer. The increased demand for clinical services has resulted in the development of auto analyzers. So we have automatic analyzers, they are also called as. So there is a demand for clinical services which has resulted in the development of auto analyzers. Auto analyzers can carry out 100 samples to 3000 samples per hour. In 1 hour they can sample out 100 samples to 3000 samples per hour. The steps common to most analyzers are sampling. And there are 5 steps that are most common to any auto analyzer are: first is the sampling, second is required separation of the sample, then third is addition of reagent and mixing, fourth is detection, and the fifth one is collection, storage and recording. So these are the 5 steps that are most commonly used in auto analyzers for analyzing the different samples. The first one is the sampling, the second one is the required separation of the sample, third one is the addition of reagents and mixing, and fourth one is detection, fifth one is collection, storage and recording. Types of automatic analyzers. Auto analyzers or automatic analyzers are classified into 3 types. They are classified into 3 types. They are continuous flow analyzers, discrete analyzers and centrifugal analyzers. Continuous flow analyzers, discrete analyzers and centrifugal analyzers. These are the 3 basic type of automatic analyzers which are classified based on their operation: continuous flow analyzers, discrete analyzers and centrifugal analyzers. Continuous flow analyzers. In these systems, the samples and the reagents are passed sequentially through the same analytical pathway and separated by means of air bubbles. They are separated by means of air bubbles. See, as shown in the figure, you can understand. The samples and the reagents are passed sequentially through the same analytical pathway. Their pathway is same. First you are sending the sample along with the air bubbles, and then the sample meets the reagent. The reagent and the sample both are continuously passed out to the incubator and reaction detector. So this is that is the way they are said to be continuous flow analyzers. Continuous flow analyzers, they are outdated. Okay, now we are going for discrete analyzers. In continuous flow analyzers, the samples are treated in a continuous flowing system. The samples are treated in a continuous flowing system. As shown in the figure, I have shown you in the earlier slide, you have seen the continuous flow analyzer where the sample is continuously passed through the analyzer. The analytical system consists of series of individual modules, each performing a specific function in a programmed sequence. You are going to have series of individual modules, each performing a specific function in a programmed sequence. All aspects of sampling, separation, reagent addition, mixing, temperature control, sensing, readout and recording are totally automatic. All are totally automatic, right? As we have seen earlier, you have seen 5 stages. There are 5 stages in auto analyzers. Most common stage is sampling, then separation of the sample, addition of reagent and mixing. Then we have the detection stage. In the mixing, temperature control you are going to do. Then detection, sensing or detection. Then you are going to get the output, that is readout, recording or storing and recording. All these are carried out totally automatically. They are totally automatically carried out. So this is your continuous flow analyzer. This is an outdated one. Now we are having the discrete analyzers. They are forming the most important type of analyzers, discrete type. You can see the picture of your continuous flow analyzer. This is the picture of continuous flow analyzer. So in the continuous flow analyzer, you have your analyzer control panel and on the top left side. Then you have your rotor and the cuvettes, and then we have the light beam. These are all the continuous flow analyzers where the you're going to have a continuous analysis of the data of the sample. The analog signal, you have a photo detector, a lamp and a source arrangement when it made to fall on the rotor cuvettes. Cuvettes are nothing but the small tubes where you are going to place the sample. The reagent and the sample are reacted and you get a response based on the reaction that is taking place in the sample. You are having a photo detector that will give you an light intensity variation in the intensity of the light. You can observe the intensity of the light variation and you can identify the nature of the sample. The next is right hand half of the of your block diagram. All that is your data presentation module. You can have an analog signal or a digital signal. When you go for a digital signal, you have all the printers and the computer and your other digital devices. Whereas in the form of an analog signal, you can display it on a panel or on a meter or a calibrated scale, whatever it may be. So this is your continuous flow analyzer where the sample is allowed to flow, treated continuously, and it consists of series of individual modules, each performing a specific function in a programmed sequence. The first is your sampling, then the separation, then reagent addition, then your mixing, then temperature control, and then sensing. You are going to sense out what is the reaction taking place, and you can read out and record totally. Everything is automatic. So this is your continuous flow analyzer. Then the next one from your auto analyzers are, next classification is your discrete analyzers. Discrete analysis is the separation of each sample and accompanying each reagent in a separate container. Each sample is treated with a reagent in a separate container, whereas in the continuous, all the things is the sample will flow through the reagent continuously, whereas here you are going to take the sample, each sample will be treated with the reagent separately in a separate container. Discrete analyzers have the capability of running multiple tests on one sample at a time or multiple samples, one test at a time. Multiple samples you can analyze. They have the capability of running multiple tests on one sample, multiple tests on one sample at a time, or multiple samples, one test at a time. So they are most popular and versatile analyzers and have almost completely replaced continuous flow analyzers. Discrete flow analyzers, they completely replaced the continuous flow analyzers because of the property of capability of running multiple tests. You can on one single sample you can do multiple tests at a time, or multiple samples, one test at a time can also be carried out, which cannot be carried out with continuous flow analyzers. So what is a discrete analyzer? So this analyzer handles each sample as a separate entity. The sample and the required reagents are taken in test tubes or cuvettes. Mixing and analysis takes place in test tubes or cuvettes. So you are going to take the sample and the required reagent in several test tubes or cuvettes, not a single cuvette or a single test tube. Several test tubes you are going to take, and mixing and analysis takes place for each test tube or each cuvette. So these containers are placed in a conveyor belt and they are agitated. The temperature is controlled by the water bath. The measurement is done at the sensor station. The drawback of discrete analyzer is due to mechanical complexity. One drawback is the mechanical complexity. That is the drawback. But these are very useful, versatile instruments which are used for analysis of multiple samples at a time. So the temperature can be controlled by the water bath. The measurement can be done at a sensor station. The only drawback with this type of analyzer is its mechanical complexity. So this is your discrete analyzer. You're going to test a sample individually. Okay, discrete analyzer on a special thing. Then discrete analyzers. A sampling capillary dips into each sample and feeds into the analyzer. It dips into each sample. A sampling capillary dips into each sample and it feeds into the analyzer. The mixture is allowed to react as it passes through a thermostated reaction coil. So this mixture, after the sampling capillary dips into each sample and feeds into the analyzer, the mixture is then allowed to react as it passes through a thermostated reaction coil. After the sample has reacted, the analyte is quantitated by a suitable sensing device such as a UV or visible spectrophlorometer. We are going to use the UV or visible spectrophlorometer to sense the output. The results are printed on a continuous strip chart recorder or sent to the printer. So this is the analysis part. The advantage with this is cross contamination among samples is totally eliminated. Cross contamination among the samples is totally eliminated and it is inexpensive and reliable. The advantage of discrete analyzers are cross contamination among samples is totally eliminated. So this is an advantage with a discrete analyzer. So discrete analyzer, whereas in the continuous flow analyzers, liquids, that is reagents or diluents and samples, they are pumped through the system of continuous tubing. Samples are introduced in a sequential manner. Okay, samples are slowly introduced in a sequential manner, following each other through the same network. Series of air bubbles at regular intervals serve as separating the media. So the internal diameter of the tubing and the rate of flow determine the volume of the sample prior to mixing with the reagent. You have an oil hot bath is used to promote color development. Okay, when there is no sample, the sampler probe is placed in the distilled water to avoid blockage and precipitation. More sophisticated continuous flow analyzers use parallel single channels to run multiple tests on each sample. So the major uses of this continuous sample method, we have major uses for testing the profiles. Okay, but there are certain disadvantages. The machine must run continuously. Okay, whereas when we come to the case of discrete auto analyzers, they have the capability to run multiple tests, one sample at a time, or multiple samples, one test at a time. The separation of each sample and accompanying reagent in a separate container. So each sample is treated differently according to the test requested and the programmed by the operator. So they are heavily dependent on electronic control. Okay, so a sampling capillary dips into each sample and feeds into the analyzer. The mixture is allowed to react as it passes through a thermostated reaction coil. After the sample has been treated, after the sample has reacted, the analyte is quantitated by a suitable sensing device such as an ultraviolet or visible spectrophlorometers. So the advantage with this sample is, with this type of analyzer is discrete analysis, cross contamination among samples is totally eliminated. It is inexpensive and reliable. The storage requirement for reagents are minimal since no wet reagents are required here. In discrete line, no wet reagents are required, no pipetting steps are needed, and no sample dilution is required. No sample dilution is required. So coming to the next is your centrifugal analyzer. Centrifugal analyzer multiplexes the detector by rapidly rotating a disc containing sample through a single detector. It multiplexes the detector by rapidly rotating a disc. A disc will be rapidly rotated. The centrifugal force provides the means for mixing the sample and the reagent and transferring this mixture to the cuvette. Okay. The sample and the reagents are placed in cups arranged in concentric circles in a transfer disc. Samples and the reagents are added in specially designed centrifugal type cuvette which has 3 main compartments. In a centrifugal analyzer, sample is added from the sample cup to the auto sampler into a sample compartment of the centrifugal cuvette. Then the reagent probe into the reagent compartment of the centrifugal cuvette adds the reagent. Then both the sample and the reagent are allowed to equilibrate to the reaction temperature. Mixing so all the 3 processes are going on here. First, it has 3 main compartments where the sample is added into the sample compartment using auto sampler. Then you have the cuvette there. The reagent probe is introduced into the reagent compartment of the centrifugal cuvette which adds the reagent. The sample and the reagent are placed in cups arranged in concentric circles in a transfer disc. So then next comes the mixing of the sample and the reagent occurs when rotor holding the cuvette is spun at a speed of 4000 rpm and then suddenly it is stopped. So the cups in the various circles are aligned radially, arranged so that the sample and the reagents move through a transfer cavity. After mixing, sample solution is pulled into a cuvette where its transmittance and luminescence is measured. As the disc rotates, the cuvette passes through the detector. The reading for each sample is recorded. You are going to mix the sample and the reagent when the rotor holding the cuvette is spun at a speed and then suddenly stop. The spinning causes the sample to add to the reagent while the turbulence caused by the sudden stop results in mixing of the sample and the reagent. After the sample is mixed, the rotor is spun at 1000 rpm. The reaction mixture is pushed horizontally to the bottom of the cuvette. So how we are going to detect this? Which has clear transparent sides for spectrophotometric measurement. The advantage of this centrifugal analyzer is rapid test performance. Analyzing multiple samples is possible. Batch analysis is a major advantage because reactions in all cuvettes are readily virtually simultaneous and you can use small amount of sample and small reagent volumes. So these are the advantages. Only disadvantage is one test can be performed each time. One test can be performed each time. So this is the advantage and disadvantages of centrifugal analyzers. Applications of auto analyzers. Auto analyzers have many applications. Clinical analysis. In clinical analysis, auto analyzers were used mainly for routine repetitive medical laboratory analysis. They are used mainly for routine repetitive medical laboratory analysis. They are used to determine levels of albumin, alkaline phosphatase, aspartate, transaminase, blood urea nitrogen, bilirubin, calcium cholesterol, creatine, glucose, inorganic phosphorus proteins and uric acid in blood serum or other bodily samples. They are used in industrial analysis, in industrial applications, mainly for water, soil extracts and fertilizer analysis. They are used in chemical analysis of blood. They are used in the analysis of urine. They are used to analyze blood plasma like sodium, potassium chloride and bicarbonates. So these are the applications. They have clinical analysis. You can analyze large number of samples at a time within a very short period. So that is the biggest advantage. You can analyze the samples, routine repetitive medical laboratory analysis like determination of levels of albumin, alkaline phosphate, aspartate transferase, blood urea, nitrogen, bilirubin, calcium, cholesterols, creatine, glucose, inorganic phosphorus proteins and uric acid in blood serum or other bodily samples. In industrial analysis, industrial applications mainly for water and soil extracts and fertilizer analysis. They are used in chemical analysis of blood. They are used in the analysis of urine. They are used to analyze blood plasma like sodium, potassium chloride and bicarbonates. Potassium chloride and bicarbonates. So to summarize our discussion today, we have studied about the concepts of thermal conductivity gas analyzers. We have studied the concept of thermal conductivity gas analyzer. It is a thermal conductivity of a material is a measure of its ability to conduct heat. So each gas has its own ability to conduct heat at a specific rate. And this property of the gas, called the thermal conductivity of the gas, is utilized in thermal conductivity detectors. The thermal conductivity gas analyzers measure gas concentrations by utilizing the difference of thermal conductivities between two gas components. The resulting temperature change is taken out as a change in the electrical resistance, according to which the concentration of the measured gas can be calculated. Different gases have different thermal conductivities. Heated metal filaments are exposed to reference. This thermal conductivity gas analyzer construction is, you have analyzer cell which consists of two chambers. There is a reference chamber and a measuring chamber, and in each of which a thin platinum wire is stretched. The reference chamber is filled with the reference gas and the sample gas is allowed to flow through the measuring chamber. The measuring circuit is a Wheatstone bridge circuit. So heated metal filaments are exposed to the reference and sample gases. The amount of heat carried away by the gases changes the rate of cooling of the platinum wire filaments and therefore its temperature. So this temperature change causes a resistant change in the elements, and the filaments are incorporated in the arms of the Wheatstone bridge circuit. So the resistance change can be converted into an electrical current, and that is available as an output signal. So each gas has its own thermal conductivity. So based on the thermal conductivity, the change in the resistance of the filaments because of difference in the thermal conductivity is observed, and the bridge goes unbalanced, and the output is represented on the meter, which indicates the voltage. Voltage difference can be observed on the meter, which is due to the presence of a specific gas having its own thermal conductivity. So when the sample gas is allowed to flow through the measuring chamber, each platinum wire composes a bridge circuit in combination with an external fixed resistor, and when this is heated by flowing a constant current, there is a change in the concentration of the component under measurement. The thermal conductivity of the sample gas will change to affect the temperature of the platinum wire in the measuring chamber. The resultant thermal change is taken out as a change in the electrical resistance, according to which the concentration of the measured gas can be calculated. The applications, coming to the applications of thermal conductivity gas analyzers, they are used to measure the hydrogen in blast furnace gases. They are used to determine argon and oxygen in the process of air decomposition. They are used to find sulfur dioxide in the production of sulfuric acid, used in welding shield gas mixtures, food packaging mixtures, and leak detection mixtures, and heat treating atmosphere. Then coming to the second topic of our discussion, auto analyzer. Auto analyzer is an analyzer which can analyze several samples at a time in a very short period of time. So the steps most commonly used in the auto analyzer are sampling. It requires separation of the sample, addition of the reagent and mixing, detection and collecting, storage and recording. So the auto analyzers are classified into three types: continuous flow analyzers. In the continuous flow analyzers, the sample and the reagents are passed consequently through the same analytical pathway and separated by means of air bubbles. In continuous flow, samples are treated in continuous flowing system, which consists of a series of individual molecules, each performing a specific function in a programmed sequence. All the process of analyzing is carried out automatically, totally automatically. So when we come to the next important analyzer is your discrete flow type of analyzers, auto analyzers. This is most versatile and popular instrument and it is completely replacing the continuous flow. Why? Because the separation of each sample and accompanying reagent is carried out in a separate container. So cross contamination is eliminated using the discrete analyzer. You have the sample as a separate entity. The sample and the required reagent are taken in a test tube or a cuvette. Mixing and analyzing takes place in the test tube. Then the containers are placed in conveyor belts and agitated. Temperature is controlled using a bath and the measurement is done at the sensor station. Only drawback with this discrete analyzers is their mechanical complexity. And the third type of analyzer which we have discussed is centrifugal analyzers. Multiplexes the detector by rapidly rotating a disc containing samples through a single detector. So centrifugal forces provides the means for mixing the sample and the reagent transferring this mixture to the cuvette. The samples and the reagents are placed in the cups arranged in concentric circles in transfer discs. The cups in various circles are aligned radially and arranged so that sample and the reagents move through a transfer cavity. After mixing, each sample solution is pulled into the cuvette where its translucence and luminescence is measured. As the disc rotates, the cuvette passes through the detector and the reading for each sample is recorded. Coming to the applications of auto analyzers. Auto analyzers are used in chemical and clinical analysis where repeatedly medical laboratory analysis is done. Routine repetitive medical analysis is done, like determination of levels of albumin, alkaline phosphorate. Then we have blood urea, nitrogen, then bilirubin, calcium, cholesterol, creatine, glucose, inorganic phosphorus, proteins and uric acid in blood, serums or other bodily samples can be analyzed. In industrial applications, they are used to analyze mainly for water, soil extracts and fertilizer analysis. Chemical analysis of blood, analysis of urine, and to analyze blood plasma like sodium, potassium chloride and bicarbonate, we are going to use auto analyzers which automatically analyze the samples. Large number of samples can be analyzed within a very short period of time. So increasing the number of tests performed by one individual in a given time period speeds up the result. Human factors is decreased during mechanical and repetitive part of any essay or labor in expensive commodity in medical laboratories. So to minimize all these problems like the quality of testing and the number of samples, automation eliminates the potential errors of manual analysis. Potential errors like volumetric pipetting steps, calculation of results and transcription of results. This can be avoided by using auto analyzers. So very small amount of samples and reagents are used. So you can save, this decreases the cost of consuming the reagents also. So auto analyzers, you get the output of large number of samples within a very short time. So these are the applications of thermal conductivity and auto analyzers which we have discussed today. So with this I would like to end my presentation on thermal conductivity gas analyzers and auto analyzers.